My name is Lauren Mitchell, and at 29 years old, I never imagined I'd be standing outside my father's 65th birthday party, uninvited. Dad and I were always tight, or so I believed, until my mother blocked the entrance with a stern gaze. "You're not on the list," she said, as if I were a stranger trying to gatecrash a high-profile gala. I watched my brother Ethan smirk as I stood there, gift in hand, heart in pieces. Before I share what happened next, let me know where you're tuning in from. Hit that like button if you've ever felt shut out by the people who should care about you most. Growing up as the middle child in coastal Seattle wasn't simple. I lived in the shadow between my older brother Ethan, the athletic prodigy, and my younger sister Chloe, the darling everyone fawned over. Our family photos paint the picture. Ethan front and center with medals, Chloe being doted on, and me, well, I was just there, often barely in the frame. Dad was different, though, at least back then. When I was 8, I came home crushed after not being invited to Sarah Bennett's sleepover, while Mom brushed it off with, "Not everyone gets invited to everything." Dad sat with me and built a blanket fort. We had our own little adventure, just us two. "You're one of a kind, Lauren," he said softly. "Never forget that." At 11, I took second place in an art contest with my watercolor landscape. Not first, like Ethan always managed. But Dad hung my painting in his office anyway. "It's not about being number one," he told me. "It's about pouring your heart into it." He placed it right beside Ethan's wall of trophies. Mom moved it a week later, saying it clashed with the decor, but Dad kept it tucked in his desk drawer. On my 15th birthday, when my friends bailed for a cooler party's bash, Dad took me on a 3-hour drive to Portland for a concert I'd been obsessed with. We dressed up, ate at a trendy bistro, and he made me feel like I was the center of his world. Sometimes it's about quality, not quantity. In relationships, he reassured me. Those moments were my foundation, proof someone in my family truly saw me. But things shifted when I left for college. While Ethan stayed local at the University of Washington, I went across the country to NYU. "Why so far?" Mom griped. "Are we not enough for you?" That distance, first physical, grew emotional over time. After college, I shocked everyone, myself included, by excelling in the marketing world. While Ethan joined Mom in the family real estate firm and Chloe drifted through retail jobs, I climbed the ranks fast. By 29, I was head of creative strategy at Pinnacle Media, overseeing 150 staff and a budget that dwarfed Mom's real estate office. My success drove a wedge. Family gatherings turned into minefields. Still at that ad agency, Mom would ask, despite the branded gift boxes I sent every holiday for years, "When are you going to settle down and give your father grandkids?" always followed. Even though Ethan and his girlfriend Mia hadn't started a family either. The real friction was with Ethan. 2 Christmases ago, after too much eggnog, he cornered me in the garage. "You think you're hot stuff with your fancy New York life," he sneered, tossing a football with unnecessary force. "You have no clue what it's like here, handling Mom and Dad daily while you send gift cards and call it family." "I call every week," I shot back. "I invite you all to visit. You're always showing off," he snapped. "Everything's a contest with you, Lauren." The irony was rich, coming from Ethan, who I'd watched collect awards while I cheered from the sidelines. "That's not fair," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I've earned what I have. You think you're above us because you left his eyes narrowed. Let me tell you, Dad doesn't rave about your job. He doesn't even get what you do. At least I'm here, being a real son." Those words stung more than he knew. After that Christmas, Dad's weekly calls dropped to monthly, then rare. When we spoke, he seemed distant, preoccupied. The man who once kept my art in his drawer now forgot key details about my life. Chloe followed Ethan's lead. As always, my once fun texts with my little sister turned into one-word replies. The last time I visited, she barely looked up from her phone. Mom had never been my biggest fan, but her criticism hardened into something colder. "Your father worries about you," she'd say in our dwindling talks. all alone in that city, working too much. It's not right for a woman your age. I tried explaining I wasn't alone. I had friends, colleagues, a life I'd built. But to them, success without their version of family wasn't success. It was failure in a power suit in a Manhattan loft. Dad's slow retreat hurt most. The man who drove 3 hours for a concert now couldn't spare 10 minutes on the phone without Ethan lingering nearby. "Ethan says you're too busy for us now," he mentioned once, voice faint. "Is that true?" Lauren. No matter how I answered, the story was already set. I was the daughter who left, who chose ambition over family, the antagonist in a tale I never signed up for. Last Christmas was the tipping point. After another jab from Ethan about my empty life, I lost it. At least I built my life myself. I said, setting down my wine glass, "I didn't just coast into Mom's business and act like that makes me special." The room froze. Dad looked gutted. Mom's face darkened. "I think you should go," Ethan said quietly, triumphant. So I did. I packed, called an Uber, and flew back to New York that night. No one called to apologize. No one called at all until 3 months later when I saw Ethan's Instagram post about Dad's 65th birthday bash. Not from Dad's account, he barely touched social media, but from Ethan's, a lavish party with all our extended family invited, everyone but me. It seemed. I stumbled on the event while scrolling Instagram late at the office. Ethan had made a slick event page with a banner celebrating David Mitchell, 65 years of legacy. The guest list had cousins I hadn't seen in ages, old neighbors, even Dad's college buddy from Oregon. My name was nowhere on the attending list. I stared at my screen, the glow lighting my face in the dark office. It was past 11 p.m. in New York, and I was still finalizing campaign pitches while the cleaning crew worked around me. This hustle was what my family judged, but it was also what earned me clout in a cutthroat industry. "Lauren, my assistant Sam appeared at the door. You're still here. Security's asking if you're okay." I closed the Instagram tab fast, just wrapping up. Sam raised an eyebrow. "Normal people don't work past 11 on Thursdays." Since when am I normal? I forced a grin that didn't quite land. After he left, I reopened Instagram and scrolled through family posts. Dad's 64th birthday, which I'd missed for a Dubai client crisis. Chloe's new retail job, which I'd texted congrats for. Mom and Dad's anniversary brunch. Everyone smiling except for the space where I belonged. I picked up my phone and called Dad. It was late, but he was always up late tinkering in his workshop. "Lauren," he sounded surprised. "Everything all right?" That was us now calls meant crises, not connection. "I'm fine. Dad, I just saw the post about your birthday party." A pause. "Oh, that. I didn't get an invite," I said, hating how small I sounded. I thought he hesitated. "Ethan said you were swamped. That big campaign in London. That's next month." "Right." I pinched my nose. "Dad, it's your 65th birthday. I'd make time." "Well," his voice softened. "Of course. You should come. It'd be great to see you." The call was stiff, with Dad giving vague details and sounding oddly reserved. After hanging up, I booked a first-class ticket to Seattle for the next weekend. Paid $800 I didn't really have to spare. But this felt vital. The next day, I called Sam from my apartment. "I'm taking Friday off next week. Family thing." "You taking time off for family?" He teased. "Are you okay?" Hilarious. "Just reschedule the client pitches. Please." Picking the perfect gift took hours. I chose a vintage leather-bound journal, like the one Dad used to sketch in, paired with a weekend at a coastal retreat he'd mentioned loving. Total cost just under $2,500. Extravagant, maybe. But I wanted to prove that, despite the distance. I knew what mattered to Dad. I picked a teal dress for the party modest enough for Mom's taste, chic enough to show I was thriving. Not that I needed their approval, I told myself, less convincingly than I'd hoped. The night before my flight, I rehearsed lines in my mirror. Great to see everyone. Smile, not too eager. The agency going strong. But let's talk about you. Deflect. Don't boast. Ethan, I'm sorry about last Christmas, even though he started it. I practiced like it was a high-stakes pitch. In a way, it was the morning of my flight. Ethan texted, heard you're coming. Don't make this weekend about you. I stared at those words the whole ride to JFK. How do you reply to that, I typed, excited to celebrate Dad, and left it there. The flight to Seattle gave me 4 hours to hope and fret. I skimmed work files without focus, then tried the breathing exercises my therapist suggested. Your family pulls you back to old roles. Doctor, Carter had said, you're returning as the adult you are now, not the kid you were. Easier said than felt. I checked into a downtown Seattle hotel instead of my parents' suburban home. Another choice they'd likely see as Lauren thinking she's too good for us. But sleeping in my old room with its faded art club posters felt impossible. I needed a safe space to retreat. That night, I ordered room service and laid out my outfit. Teal dress, low silver heels, simple jade earrings Dad gave me for high school graduation. Everything chosen to say successful but not flashy, independent but still your daughter. I barely slept. By morning, I'd convinced myself this trip would either mend things or break us for good. No in between. I did my makeup with shaky hands, styled my hair, and practiced one last smile. Happy birthday. Dad, I whispered to the mirror. I hope you're happy I'm here. The venue was a waterfront lodge on Puget Sound. Pure Dad, rustic yet refined, with cedar beams and huge windows framing the water. I recognized cars in the lot, Aunt Linda's hybrid, Uncle Mark's old Mustang, Cousin Jake's Jeep, family vehicles, familiar as my childhood toys. Approaching the entrance, gift in hand, I saw Dad's old friend Greg smoking outside. Lauren, he grinned. Look at you, all grown up. Hey, Mr. Carson. I smiled, slipping into kid mode politeness. Good to see you. You look like your dad did at your age, he said, giving me a quick hug. He'll be over the moon you're here. He was just saying he wished all his kids were here today. That hit me hard. Why would Dad say that if he knew I was coming before I could ask? Cousin Mia appeared. Lauren. She hugged me. Surprised. I didn't know you were coming. Ethan said you were tied up with some big work thing. I cleared my schedule. I said, unease growing. It's Dad's 65th. I wouldn't miss it. Mia's face flickered. Right. Well, everyone's inside. Your dad looks great. I followed her to the entrance where Mom stood, greeting guests. Her hair was neatly styled, her posture stiff as ever. When she saw me, no warmth came, just that old look of disapproval. Lauren, she said coolly, what are you doing here? The words threw me off. I'm here for Dad's birthday, I said, keeping it light. Is that so shocking? She glanced at a clipboard, scanning a guest list. You're not on the list. Those words hung heavy. My face burned, aware of eyes on us. There must be a mix-up, I said quietly. I talked to Dad last week. He said to come. Mom's expression stayed cold. No mix-up. This party was planned for months by people who actually show up for family. Her words cut deep, deliberate, public. Mom, I said, softer. Please don't do this. I flew out just for this. I want to wish Dad happy birthday. You should have confirmed, she said. This is a private event for those who make time for family. Before I could reply, Ethan appeared with Mia trailing behind. He wore a blazer that echoed Dad's style, his stance mimicking Mom's authority. Problem, he asked, voice dripping with fake sweetness, eyes glinting with victory. Lauren's not on the guest list, Mom repeated. Oh, Ethan said, all mock sympathy. That's awkward. I thought we talked about this. Lauren, after Christmas. We didn't talk about anything, I said, holding my ground. I spoke to Dad directly. Dad probably felt pressured. Ethan shrugged. You know he avoids conflict. I looked past them, searching for Dad in the crowd. Where is he? I want to talk to him. He's busy with real guests, Mom said. I'm not letting you ruin his birthday. I noticed Mia shifting awkwardly behind Ethan, eyes down. She was petite, sharp-eyed, in a dress that looked costly but slightly off-fit. I'd only seen her in Ethan's posts. She seemed uneasy with the scene. I heard someone whisper, "Is that Lauren? I thought she cut ties with the family." Another voice, maybe Cousin Jake's wife, said, "Ethan told me she called David a bad father at Christmas. Can you believe it?" Then Ethan, not even whispering, "Did she really think she'd be welcome after that?" It hit me. Then this wasn't spontaneous. It was orchestrated, likely savored. I was being punished, not just excluded. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. I wouldn't cry here. I wouldn't give them that win. I understand. I said, voice calmer than I felt, "Please give this to Dad. It's his birthday gift." I handed the wrapped journal and retreat voucher to Mom, who took it automatically. "Tell him I love him and hope he has a great day," I said, locking eyes with her. That's all I came for. I turned and walked away, steps deliberate, refusing to rush despite wanting to flee. Behind me, Ethan's laugh mixed with Mom's sharp murmur, words unclear. I reached my rental car before my hands shook too hard to unlock it. Mascara threatened to streak. I gripped the wheel, breathing in. 2, 3, 4, out. 2, 3, 4. I wouldn't break down here. I'd drive to the hotel, repack, rebook my flight, and be back in New York by tomorrow. This was done. No more reconciliation attempts. No more holiday calls. No more pretending we were a family. As I started the engine, a tap on my window startled me. Mia, Ethan's girlfriend, stood there, signaling to lower it. Her face was apologetic, almost nervous. I considered driving off but rolled the window halfway down. "Lauren," she said, clearing her throat. "Ms. Mitchell. I mean, just Lauren," I said, frowning. "How do you know to call me Ms. Mitchell?" Mia glanced back at the lodge, then at me. "I work at Pinnacle Media in New York, in digital strategy, 5th floor." My brain flipped through staff lists, trying to place her. "Mia Torres," she said. "I started 10 months ago, moved from Seattle to be near Ethan on weekends. I knew it was you the moment I saw you." The irony was brutal. My brother's girlfriend worked at my company, and I'd been too buried in work to notice. "Does Ethan know you work for me?" I asked. "Not exactly," she admitted, uneasy. "He knows I'm at Pinnacle, but not that you're basically my boss." I nodded. The org chart meant I was in her chain of command, though not directly. "Can I sit?" she asked, pointing to the passenger seat. "I owe you an explanation." I unlocked the door, curiosity winning. Mia climbed in, making the car feel smaller. "I should have spoken up in there," she said. "That was wrong. What they did." "Why didn't you?" I asked, sharper than intended. "It's messy," she sighed. "I've only been with Ethan a year, still figuring out the family." "Well, you just saw the Mitchells at our best." I said, bitter. "That's why I came out here," Mia said, turning to me. "That wasn't spur of the moment. They planned it." My stomach knotted. "What do you mean last night? At the rehearsal dinner, Ethan and your mom talked about what to do if you showed up. Your mom said she'd handle it. Dad wasn't there? The fact they'd choreographed my rejection was worse than if it had been impulsive." "Does Dad even know I came?" I asked. Mia paused. "He asked about you earlier. Wondered if you'd surprise him. Ethan said you'd sent regrets weeks ago." "That's a lie," I whispered. I know." Mia nodded. "I've seen how Ethan talks about you." "I'm sure it's all glowing," I said dryly. "It's complicated," she said carefully. "There's jealousy. He compares himself to you constantly but won't admit it. Jealous of what I laughed, disbelieving. He's the star. Always was. But you're the one who broke free." Mia said. You built something all your own. And at work, she stopped. What about work? I pressed. You're admired, Lauren. Your creativity, your leadership. When I realized Ethan's sister was the Lauren Mitchell everyone at Pinnacle respects, it was jarring. I sat, stunned. While I felt like a family failure, I'd apparently become a workplace role model without knowing. Ethan's been undermining you with your parents, Mia went on. Little comments, twisting your absences into rejections, blowing up fights. When your dad missed you, Ethan would bring up some supposed slight, and Dad bought it. The hurt was raw. Your dad's been having health issues, Mia said softly. Nothing major, but enough to make him vulnerable, mild anxiety. Some focus problems. Ethan's been helping, managing his schedule, his meds. The pieces clicked. While I'd been building my career in New York, Ethan had been crafting a narrative in Seattle, painting me as the daughter who ditched her family for fame. Why tell me this? I asked. You're with Ethan. Your loyalty's to him. Mia looked at her hands. Because that was wrong. And at Pinnacle, I've seen how you treat people fairly. Even when they mess up, the stories don't add up. Also, selfishly. It's awkward when your boyfriend's family drama involves your boss. I laughed despite myself. Fair point. So what now? She asked. I looked at Puget Sound, sparkling in the April light. The easy move was to drive away, cut ties, and be done. But the part of me that remembered Dad's blanket forts wouldn't let go. I think, I said slowly, it's time the truth came out, especially to Dad. Mia nodded, nervous but relieved. I'll back you up, but I've got to face them at holidays. Don't worry, I said, reaching for the door. I've handled tough crowds in boardrooms. I know a thing or two. Walking back into that lodge was tougher than any pitch I'd ever given, harder than firing a friend I'd hired. This took a different kind of guts facing people who'd known me since pigtails and thought they could define me. Mia and I slipped in through a side door, avoiding Mom's gatekeeping. The party was alive, 70 guests at round tables, a slideshow of family photos on a big screen. I was barely in them. Dad sat at the head table, sharp in a navy suit, laughing with Aunt Linda, oblivious to the drama at the door. Ethan spotted us first. His eyes narrowed, flicking between Mia and me, realizing something was up. He started toward us, but Mia stepped forward, voice clear as chatter paused. Everyone, this is Lauren Mitchell, David's daughter, and, she added perfectly, my boss at Pinnacle Media. The room hushed. Dad's head whipped up, his eyes meeting mine with surprise and what looked like real joy. Lauren, he stood, dropping his napkin. You're here. Before I could speak, Ethan reached us, face red. Mia, what are you doing? He hissed. The right thing, she said calmly. Mom stormed over, furious. I thought I was clear at the door. You were, I said evenly. But there's been a misunderstanding about my place in this family that needs sorting out. Dad approached, confusion on his face. What's going on? Susan. Why are you upset, Lauren? I'm thrilled you're here. Susie, she said softly, taking his hands. Did you think I didn't want to come? He frowned. Ethan said you were too busy. That big London campaign. I never said that. I told him firmly. I told you I'd be here. I took time off, flew in yesterday. But then, why Dad looked at Ethan. Then Mom. I was just at the door. I said. The whole party watching. Mom said I wasn't on the guest list, that this was for people who make time for family. Dad's face fell. Susan, is this true? Mom stiffened. David, we talked about this after what she said at Christmas. We never talked about that. Dad cut in. Sharp. Lauren's my daughter. She's always welcome at my birthday. The room was silent, glasses clinking faintly. This wasn't how I pictured this playing out, but maybe the public stage was needed. There's a pattern, I said to Dad, but loud enough for all. For years, my words have been twisted, absences for work spun as neglect, my choices framed as abandoning family. Ethan stepped up, smiling tightly. This isn't the place. Lauren, always making it about you, even Dad's birthday. That's the point, I said, pointing at him. That narrative selfish Lauren, it's been built, but it's not true. I faced the guests. Many of you knew me as a kid. I'm not perfect, but I've always loved my family. My career took me to New York, not another planet. Phones work both ways. Visits do too. Ethan, I said, voice steady like in a tough pitch, has been undermining my bond with our parents, exaggerating fights, spinning my work as betrayal. That's absurd, Ethan scoffed, but his eyes flicked nervously. Is it? I turned to Mia. What did Ethan say about me before today? Mia hesitated, then spoke. That you were distant, obsessed with work, that you said Dad was a bad father who held you back? I never said that, I said firmly. It was implied, Ethan snapped. No, it wasn't, I countered. At Christmas. After you said I thought I was better than everyone. I said I built my career myself. That's not an attack. It's fact. Dad looked crushed. Is this true? Ethan, have you been turning us against Lauren? Ethan's facade broke. You don't get it. She left. She got to be the big shot creative while I stayed, handling everything, being the good son. And what do I get? You still beam when she calls, not when I'm right here. His pain silenced the room. I felt a pang of sympathy. We'd both been locked into childhood roles, him the hero who stayed, me the traitor who left. Ethan, Dad said gently, I've never compared you. I love you both for who you are. Then why do you keep her watercolor in your drawer? Ethan shot back, voice breaking. Second place, years ago. And you still have it. I was floored. That painting had become a symbol for Ethan of some imagined favoritism I'd never felt. Susan, Dad said, we should take this private. No, Dad replied firmly. I'm done with secrets in this family. He turned to the guests. Sorry for the drama. Folks, enjoy the party. We need a moment. He led us, Mom, Ethan, Mia, and me to a side room. As the door shut, I saw guests whispering, eyes wide. In the room, Dad took charge. A side of him I hadn't seen in years. Sit. Everyone. We did. Like, kids caught misbehaving. Susan, he said to Mom. Did you turn Lauren away from my birthday? Mom squirmed. I was protecting you after what she said at Christmas. What did she say? Exactly, Dad pressed. In her words. Not Ethan's version. Mom looked lost. That you held her back. That she had to build her life because we didn't support her. That's not what I said. I cut in. I said I built my career myself. Which is true. Not an attack. Just fact. After Ethan called my life empty, Dad turned to Ethan. Have you been keeping Lauren and me apart? Ethan's defiance faded under Dad's gaze. I was tired of being overlooked. Lauren swoops in. Everyone fawns. Then she's gone while I'm here daily, helping with your appointments, the house. Appointments I cut in, looking at Dad. What appointments Dad sighed? I've had some anxiety, focus issues, nothing big, but it's been tough. Ethan's been great. You never told me. I said, hurt clear. Ethan thought it'd stress you with your busy job. Dad said, then frowned, but that wasn't his call. It all clicked Dad's distance. Ethan's gatekeeping. I'm sorry, Mia said suddenly. I should have spoken up sooner. I've heard Ethan twist things Lauren supposedly said. Ethan turned to her, stung. You're siding with her. Your boss. It's not sides, Mia said softly. It's truth. That word lingered truth. Something our family had dodged for years. I want to try again, I said. All of us, with honesty. No gatekeepers, no rewritten stories. Dad took my hand. I want that too. Lauren, I've missed you more than you know. Mom cleared her throat. I may have misread things. If you're telling the truth, not quite an apology. But from Mom, it was huge. Ethan stayed quiet, tears falling. His perfect son image was cracking, and I couldn't tell if he was grieving it or relieved. This won't fix overnight, I said, but it's a start. As we rejoined the party, Dad held me back. Your gift, he said softly. The journal, the retreat. How did you know you showed me your old sketchbooks when I was 9? I said. You said you missed journaling. You loved that coastal spot. His eyes teared up. You remembered. After all this time, I remember what matters. Dad, I said, squeezing his hand. Distance doesn't mean I'm not here. Back at the party, the tension eased. Guests approached me, connecting genuinely, not just politely. Even Mom asked about my work, her interest clumsy but real. Ethan kept his distance, grappling with his exposed truth. Healing with him would take time, if it happened at all. But as Dad cut his cake, with me on one side, Ethan on the other, mirrored in his grin, I felt something unexpected hope. Monday, back in New York, I walked into Pinnacle with an emotional weight. The confrontation had been exhausting but necessary. I stayed through Sunday, talking stiltedly with Mom, connecting with Dad, giving Ethan space. Sam looked up as I entered, coffee in hand. How was the family drama eventful? I said, managing a smile. Very eventful. Did they see the incredible woman you are? He asked, half teasing. Actually, I said, realizing it, I think they're starting to, at noon. HR emailed about Mia Torres's transfer request from digital strategy to brand management, a lateral move out of my chain. Professionally smart, personally tricky. I called Mia. You didn't need to transfer, I said. It's cleaner this way, she replied. Boundaries, given everything. How's Ethan handling it? Mia sighed. He's struggling. Your confrontation broke his story of himself. He gave me an ultimatum Saturday, quit Pinnacle or we're done. Typical. I almost laughed. What did you say, that I won't let anyone control my career? She said. We're on a break while he figures things out. I felt a twinge of guilt. I didn't mean to cause this. You didn't, Mia said. This was brewing. Your truth just sped it up. After the call, I stared at the Manhattan skyline. Personal and professional had collided in ways no training prepared me for. I met with our ethics officer, Karen, explaining the situation clinically. I need to ensure no impropriety in handling this, I said. Karen nodded. Document everything. Step back from Mia's decisions and consider a coach for the personal-professional line. I followed her advice, setting clear protocols to protect Mia's career and my integrity. Corporate tools for family mess felt odd but right. I booked an urgent session with Dr. Carter. You stood up for yourself, she said after I shared the weekend. How was that scary? I admitted. Then, freeing. She nodded. Classic dynamic golden child who stays, scapegoat who leaves. Ethan's identity was tied to being the dutiful son, you the selfish daughter. Neither's true or fair. How do we fix it? I asked. It starts with honesty and realistic expectations, she said. They won't change fast, if ever. 2 weeks later, Dad called with heavy news: early-stage cognitive decline. Not severe, but progressing. I should have told you sooner, he said. Ethan thought Dad. I cut in. Promise me you'll tell me directly from now on. No middlemen. I promise, he said. Voice firm. I've been thinking, could I visit you in New York? See your world I froze. In 12 years, neither parent had come east. I'd love that. I said, when next month? Your mom's got a book club trip. I'll come alone. The idea of just us, no family noise, warmed me. I'll send flights tonight, I said. At Pinnacle, I dove into the London campaign with new clarity. The personal truth sharpened my professional edge boulder decisions. Stronger advocacy. Something's shifted, my boss Claire noted after I nailed a tough client deal. More grounded. I'm bringing my whole self to work, I said, surprising us both. Mia and I kept things professional at the office, but met for coffee sometimes to unpack the family fallout. Ethan's on pause with me, she said once. He's in therapy, though. Dad pushed him. That sparked hope. Ethan seeking help meant he might face his role in our mess. 3 months post-confrontation, the CEO, Rachel Kim, called me in to discuss a VP role overseeing global campaigns. More travel, more stakes. During the interview, she asked, "This role demands tough talks and standing firm. Share a non-work example." I shared a sanitized version of the birthday clash, emphasizing truth and boundaries over family dirt. Rachel nodded. "That's why you're in the running, Lauren. Your skills are top-notch, but your integrity and grit make you stand out." A week later, I took the VP job. Dad was my first call. "I'm so proud," he said, voice clear in a way it hadn't been. "I always knew you'd do big things, even when you got second place in art contests. Especially then." I teased. "Because you did it your way," he said. 3 months later, Dad arrived at JFK, my first family visitor in New York. I waited nervously at the gate, feeling like I was meeting a VIP. "Lauren," he waved, eyes bright despite his frailer frame. "Welcome to New York," I said, hugging him. "I can't believe you're here." That week changed everything. I took 3 days off. Sam checked my temperature and showed Dad my life. My loft overlooking the Hudson, my go-to deli, the quiet bookstore I escaped to. "It's amazing," he said as we strolled the High Line. "I see why you love it." On day 3, I brought him to Pinnacle. Seeing him beam as colleagues praised my work healed old wounds. This wasn't the family's tale of Lauren, the runaway daughter, but Lauren, the trusted leader. Mia greeted us professionally, keeping boundaries tight. Her warmth with Dad showed his unexpected role as my ally. When Dad flew back, our bond had shifted. Weekly calls deepened, honest. He sent small gifts, a sketchbook, a mug in my favorite color signs he saw me. Mom tried too, in her stiff way, emailing real estate trends with notes like, "Might interest you." Small, but real steps. Ethan was trickier. We didn't talk for 2 months post-party. Then, out of nowhere, he called as I prepped a pitch. "I've been thinking," he said. "Therapy too." "That's great," I said warily. "I'm not ready to dive deep." He continued, "But I was wrong about some things. How I painted you to Mom and Dad wasn't right. It wasn't an apology, but from Ethan. It was big. Thanks for saying that," I replied. "Mia says you've been fair at work," he added. "She respects you. She's good people." I said, "Whatever's next for you two. She cares." "We're sorting it out," he said vaguely. "Just wanted you to know I'm working on it." The VP role meant more travel, including Seattle layovers. I started planning quick visits, airport dinners with Dad, sometimes overnight with Mom too. These short, regular meetups built something truer than our old, tense holiday reunions. Dad's health steadied with treatment. "Less stress helps," he said once. Family drama was literally making me sick. 6 months after the party, I hosted Christmas in my loft, reclaiming the holiday that broke us. Dad and Mom came eagerly. Chloe brought her new boyfriend. Ethan passed, but sent a curated wine set thoughtful for him. Around my table, extended for the crowd, it felt real, not staged. We weren't playing old roles. We were adults choosing to connect. Before dinner, Dad raised his glass. "Thanks to Lauren for bringing us here, not just to her home, but closer together. Your courage to speak truth changed us." Mom nodded, eyes soft. "I've been rethinking the kind of mother I've been, the one I want to be. I'm proud of you. Lauren, your success, but more, your heart." That hit deep, a validation I'd craved forever. Later, as we all cleaned up a Mitchell family. First, Ethan texted Hope dinner was good. Maybe next year. Those words held more promise than years of forced photos. The personal shaped my work. I mentored young women at Pinnacle, sharing versions of my story. Your worth isn't your family's approval or your job title. I told a struggling strategist, it's living true and treating others with respect. In my review, Rachel said, your technical skills were always stellar. Now you bring soul to leadership. That's rare. The party I feared would end my family sparked its renewal. Not perfect, but real messy, growing, occasionally slipping. But now, with courage to call out patterns and forgive them. Dad's words in New York stuck. Sometimes being left out of where you don't fit leads you to where you do. He meant my career, but it fit family too. That painful rejection opened doors to truer bonds. The journal I gave Dad became his go-to gift, used at every family event, a sign of being seen. Even from afar, this summer, we're planning a family therapy session, Mom, Dad, Ethan, Chloe, me, not for a crisis, but to keep healing. It's set for next month in Seattle. My flight's booked. Family isn't a fixed point, it's a journey. The work never stops. But I've learned boundaries aren't walls. They're paths to connect as our true selves. Have you ever had to confront family who misunderstood you? How did you handle it? Share below. If this story hit home, hit like and subscribe for more on navigating tough relationships and finding your voice. Thanks for hearing my story. And remember, healing often starts with the courage to speak your truth, even when your voice trembles.